So today we'll be looking at cost loading. Yesterday we talked about resource loading, the budgeted labor units, how you export it to Excel, you copy it to Excel and use it for your S curves. And today we're doing the same thing. So we're doing that. We do it for resources, for man hours, right? We did that for man hours. So today we're doing it for cost. And yesterday I also mentioned that your cost rides on the vehicle of your resource. So your resource is your cost is the food, your resource is the plate that carries the food. Okay, your resource is the plate that carries the food. So you have to assign your cost to a resource. That's how so then you now load it on your activities. That is just pretty simple. So we'll be looking at cost loading. Under cost loading, we'll be looking at assigning resources to activities, which we've done yesterday, right? We'll be looking at loading activities from BOQ, okay? And assigning the cost and looking at the spread. Okay, yesterday I did something. I think I can do the same thing to just use our OneNote to type out something so that it will be a bit clearer. OneNote. No spots. Okay, so today we'll be looking at, like I said, looking at cost loading. Okay. And the first step that will be looking at is first, the first thing you do, set your cost loading. Disconnected. Set cost loading. Yeah, so that's just a matter of bringing out the fields you require for cost loading. So and remove all the ones that are not necessary. The second thing you do is you create your resource. Create resource, which we've done yesterday. Resource and create standard price. So great. Yeah. Then the next is what? Assign resource, which we've done already. Assign resources. Resource or resources. So in my activity might have one resource or more. Check the distribution. Check distribution. Check cost distribution. Check profile. Cost profile. Okay, so that's it then. So going by the things that we have to do today, I think before talking so much about the cost, the things that we have to do today, so that we can take note of that. So we're going to do this. First is a to-do list. So one is cost loading. Two, baselines. We'll have to baseline the schedule. Principles of baselines, yeah. The third one, project monitoring and control. Project monitoring and control. 4, printing. Project output, that's your printing. Output. So you have printing and exporting. next 5. If we have time, risk. Understanding risk. We can just do a little bit of this one is just an add-on. Risk in pieces. So we can't, on this one, we'll show you what is available now because we don't, the module for risk management is different. But this one, you can also use it to do something small. So I'll show us and do that introduction to risk management in pieces. I think this is what we have for today. This is what we have, just very simple. So we'll try to take it one a piece and I'll try my best to do justice to it. So for cost loading, I've outlined what we need to do for your cost loading. First, you set the layout. How do I set my layout? Let's go. How do I set my layout? So how do I start? What are the fields that are required for cost loading? So first is, if you have your projects, so I just want us to start from first principle, right? So I have my project. I have my project and I want to open. I'm still in the project field. So I'm closing all of this so that we can start like you are opening your system for the first time on our project. Okay. So maybe I meet a blank like this, or I meet something like this. So I need to open my projects. And our project is this construction program for any IQS training. So you right click and open the project. Right click and open the project. So you right click and open the project. Now the layout that we're going to use for your cost loading. Layout we're going to use for cost loading. So first, you need the following. Like we used yesterday, we had our activity ID, you have our resource name, budgeted time, budgeted units, and you have your budgeted cost. So it's that same layout we used yesterday. That is what we're going to use today. That same layout we used for resource loading yesterday. So please don't change it. The most important thing that on your resource loading is it's happening in your activity details. So this bottom part is known as your activity details. And of course, someone helped us yesterday to tell us why we don't have resources on this first activity, because it is a milestone, so you can't resource load it. Okay, so you will have all of this. Now, the next one, like I mentioned here, is that what you're going to create resource and create standard price. Yesterday, we created the resource. So you first of all go to your resource pane, your resources. I told us that this is resource assignment. If you mouse over it, this is resource assignment, but this is your resources. You can either use this or you go to enterprise because it's an enterprise data, right? Just scroll down and you can see your what resources. Click on this. If you want to bring this out here, so this is what you do. Customize. You can check the ones you want to show, the ones you don't want to show. Maybe I don't want risks to show. I just uncheck it here, right? I don't want expenses to show. I just uncheck it and I'm good. Okay. So that's that. So that's that. So we continue. First, you will now need to go to resources. Go to your resource layouts because we want to assign price to these, our resources. Want to assign standard rate. Yesterday, we were able to change our rates, our currency to Naira. We created a Naira currency. Now, if you check your system, I don't know if some of you are following or you are practicing or just listening, but please make sure there are some things you need to do when you want to cost load, when you want to cost load, when you want to resource load, okay? So firstly is that you must ensure that your user preference, because here now you see me, I have Naira, I have N here, right? Your user preference, you should go back to your user preferences like I explained the other day, and make sure your currency is what, in Naira, because the default is dollars, is US dollars. Yeah, the default is USD. So if your project is in Naira, please change it. Just drop down here, yeah, and choose whatever. So like I want to change to USD, I change it here, right? But if I change it here, this changes to dollar. The dollar sign comes up here. But if I go back and I don't want dollar, my project is in Naira, I just go back to my user preference and change it back, so that you don't leave it, because your default, it will always be showing defaults. So unless you come here and change to your desired currency. So which is this? Okay, that's done and said. So my Naira has come back. Now you want to assign what? Your rate, your standard rate. Your standard rate. So in this view, what you need is under your units and prices. Remember, we created the resource yesterday. Well, after creating the resource, we assigned the defaults, the maximum units, right? We assigned the maximum, but we didn't put anything on rates or on price. So now we're putting under units and prices. Units and prices, we have the units already, but we want the price. We want the price. So your maximum units and this, they align together. So the price, the standard rate for this is what? Is how much? How much is it, right? So standard rate for each unit. Now, how do you get your unit? Remember what we did yesterday? We said we're using 5 crews, because that was what it was when we were doing the resource loading and we had over allocation. That was when we increased to 2,000. So and we agreed that one team is made up of 4 persons. Let's say 4 filters and 2 laborers. 2 filters and 1 laborer, like 2 laborers. 2 filters and 1 what? Laborer. 1 laborer, okay? And when you add that, so that's what makes a crew. That's what makes up a crew. Your 2 filters, let's say they are being paid 5,000 naira per day. They are being paid 5,000 naira per day. Remember, I said if your schedule is in hours, maintain hours. Now let's see, if our planning is in hours, we'll maintain hours. If it's in days, okay, right now it's in days, so we'll maintain days. So I think I'm correct now. If it's in days, please maintain days, right? So if you are paying, please follow my lead on this. I have how many persons? 4 filters or 2 filters, and I have, and each filter earns what? 5,000 naira. 5,000 naira. Then the 2 laborers, they earn, let's say 3,000. Okay, 2 laborers, and they earn 3,000 each. So this 5,000 now times 2 will give us what? Will give us what? 10,000 naira. And these 2 filters, their rate will be what? 6,000 naira, right? So if you add this to this, for a crew, is per day is going to cost us how much? Per day will not cost us, 16,000 naira. Okay. Now, in a day, remember what you have, that standard rate is in hours. In a day, you have these men are working. Remember our calendar. Our calendar is saying they are working for 10 hours per day, right? They are working for 10 hours. Let's check our calendar and be sure. Let's check our calendar. Okay, so we have 10 hours calendar, 7 days a week. So it's 10 hours, right? So our calendar is saying they are going to work for 10 hours. So if they are working for 10 hours and this is what 16, so per hour will be how much? 16,000 divided by 10. 16,000 divided by 10. Okay? And that would be, that's 1,600, right? 1,600 per hour. 1,600 per hour. So this is the 1,600 that you're going to impute here in your standard rates. Okay. So here it becomes what? 1,600. So we know we have this number of persons, not a problem. Remember, each of your activities does not have this number. Now, you have assigned the standard rate. So from your BOQ, now you know the rate. So let's assume you have your BOQ, you are transferring your activity descriptions, right? You are transferring them under this place, your activity name. You're breaking them down here. And you have your rate. Your rate is what you will transfer to this place. Your rate for those activities is what you transfer in here. Your quantities, right? When you are assigning is when you assign quantities per each of them. You have listed out all your resources here, both labor, your non-labor, and what have you. You can decide to even add your expenses here, right? Your overhead, you can add them here. Okay. So then when you are done, you are going back to assign these resources to each activity. Like I said, the activities are sitting pretty, the resources are here, but you need to link them together. You need to now connect them together, and you go back to your activities, just like we did yesterday while we were. So it's the same resource. The only difference is that we just added price to it. We just added price to it. Just added price to it, okay? So this same activity, we now want to see, this is the second activity that has resource. We already resource loaded it yesterday, okay? And we've put the quantity that we want, that we desired. And we said, yesterday we mentioned that once you see 500%, it is five persons. 100% is 1 person, right? 500% is 5 persons. So we have it already that, and the for you to get your budgeted unit, it is original duration times your budgeted units per time. That is the number you have, the quantity you have assigned. So this place is your quantity. Remember I said yesterday, you can have it in percentage or you can have it in numbers or in hours. Okay? So that you can come back here, your edit, you can decide to change it here. Under your time and units, right? You can change it to this, okay? Under your time and units, you can change it to this instead of this. So all we're using is this, but you can change it to this. And if you do that, you see your percentage disappears, right? Then you can now have it in numbers. You can have it in numbers. So we go back, references, and I changed the percentage, okay? So good. So now that we have this, your activity will automatically carry what? Your price. You don't need this price per unit, right? You don't need your price per unit. What you need is your standard. What you need is your standard. And we're going to look at so each of them, let's assign one after the other. One after the other. So I have my resource. Let me see the reactions. I hope we're following. No Naira option in drop down. What to do? You were not in class yesterday, anonymous attendee. If you were in class, you won't ask this question. Changing this currency, is this project specific? Yes, it is project specific. So sometimes you have projects like those of us that are working in the oil and gas, as in quantity surveyors that are working as cost estimators in the oil and gas. Either you are working in a project office as a QS or you're working in the contract section. There's something we call split currency. Split currency, that means the contract, you have your contract in US dollar or in euro, and you have split currency. They can tell you, oh, we're paying 60% because especially IOCs, most of these foreign companies, yeah, most of these like Julius Bergers of this world, they usually don't pay them in Naira. So they will now insist that we want to be paid in split currency. You pay me 70% in euro or in dollars, and you pay me 30% of that contract sum in Naira. So whenever, each time you are invoicing, after your valuation is done, so your pricing, your BOQ will be prepared in dollars, one currency. But when it comes to payments, finance bit of it, that is where you split it in two currencies. So you have done my valuation and it's giving me, my valuation has given me like $100, right? Total is 100, cumulative is $100. Now that's $100, I'm going to split it. $70 will be paid in dollars direct to one Biblos bank account, one international bank, or what have you. Then 30% of that amount will be paid in Naira. Whatever the going price, the official going price, the exchange rate is what they will now use to. So as a QS, please note that when you are preparing interim payment certificates, or you're sending to your clients, so that is why you need to look at your contract documents and read the terms of contract. Even when you're submitting those invoices, you print a copy of that contract, circle it, and attach it to that invoice before you go and submit with your cover letter. Those are the things you submit. So I think I've deviated, sorry, but I'm trying to explain this. So we'll call it split currency. So projects differ. So if you have a contract like that, you have to use the one that is higher, the one that you use for your BOQ. So there's some most contracts in IOCs, it's usually in dollars. Even Nigeria sells crude to oil companies in dollars. They don't pay in Naira. They don't negotiate in Naira. Even Dangote refinery buying in dollars from Nigeria. That's how it is. So you want to use the, but if you are depending on your client and the terms of your contract, if your contract is in Naira, you stay in Naira. But if your contract is in dollars, you stay in dollars. So it depends. It depends on the project, right? I think Hassan, that's clear. For anonymous attendee, yesterday we said you go to admin, go to currencies. So from here you can add, right? Add, put in the currency ID, type in the currency name, put the symbol, and put the exchange rate to dollars. Remember the default that this system was built on is dollars, is in dollars. Every other one will have exchange rate. So you put the exchange rate dollar to Naira and you move on. Okay? So that's just it. So by the time you come to this place, user preferences, your dollar will. So like if I want to now bring in that dummy one I just created now without name, you see it here, and I'll make it my my current currency, and that's it. It changes everything for me, right? It changes everything for me. Okay, so that's it. You see that most of the things I have here has changed. So that's what it is. So but I'm changing this back to Naira. Okay, let's continue. So I was talking about we assigning the resources. And yesterday we assigned all the resources. We assigned all the resources. I wouldn't want to go back there anymore. We took our time to explain that yesterday. And if you see now, the amounts are showing. So now let's go and like the non-labor. You remember I've not assigned the cost to it. So that's why you're not seeing anything here. It's only the iron bedder, that's the labor crew that I've assigned cost. If you go to resource now, so it's only this, right, that has a rate. This one does not have yet. This one does not have yet. So we're going to give it a rate also. For cement, it's very easy. It's very easy. How much is cement now per bag? Let me assume it's 5,000. I don't know. I don't know, but let me assume it's 5,000 naira. Okay, then that's it. You have that. So if I go back to my activities, right? So I don't have, let me see where I have material. It's my crew. Okay, so I know why it has not reflected. So let me also do the resources, the last one, which is the non-labor, right? The non-labor. So how many per hour? How much naira do we rent this per day? Yeah, I think it's rented per day for concrete mixer. So let's assume it's 100,000, and if he's working for 10 hours a day, 10 hours a day, that is 10,000 naira per hour, right? So we're fine. So we go back to our activities. So you'll be wondering, why is it that this total budgeted cost is not showing? It's not showing, while all the other ones we have, only where you have the labor, it is showing. Okay, so now we're going to do, so after assigning it, there are some things you need to do that you have to change. Okay, there are some things you have to change. On my notes, I think I have some things written out. Okay. Okay, so first of all, I said when you want to start this resourcing, make sure that your activity type, if you go to general, duration type, sorry, your duration type is fixed duration and units. Fixed duration and units when you want to do this cost loading so that it doesn't change. Fixed duration and units. Your durations are not changing, your units are not changing because they work hand in hand. If they determine your duration and your units, determine the total cost. Your duration and your units per time is what you multiply. Your original duration multiplied by your budgeted units per time gives you your budgeted units. This 40 times 400 is what gave you this, right? So when you have this one now, your budgeted units times your standard rate is what gives you the budgeted cost. Your budgeted units times it's just like your quantities, your total quantities, times your standard rate is what gives you your budgeted cost. Now, okay, thanks, Hassan. So now, what else can you do to make sure that these other ones are showing that the multiplication have been received? So one, I've showed you one of the must do's, and that is making sure that this is the activity type is this. That's this one. activity duration type, sorry, I kept calling it activity. Duration type, not activity type. Your activity type is tax dependent, that's okay. But your duration type is fixed duration and units. And I've told us how it influences your cost and whatever calculations is happening there. Now, the next one is you need to go to schedule. There are some options, your scheduling options you need to change. You have to change some scheduling options because that's the reason we are not seeing these calculations coming out. That's the reason we are not seeing this now. That's why you are not seeing anything under budgeted cost for your cement, budgeted cost for your mixer. So go to your schedule and go to options. So the shortcut key for schedule is my F9. Is F9. So but you can just look at this and this clock and then click on it. Then click on options, right? So under your options, you see general, you see advanced, okay? So in your general, under your general, please check calculate assignment cost after scheduling, because I know that it might not be there. Calculate assignment cost after scheduling. Remember, we have not scheduled. That is why those costs have not been calculated. Recalculate assignment cost afterwards scheduling. Okay? And you close it. So if yours is not checked, please check it now. And you close. And you come back to your schedule and click on schedule. So you see that your budgeted costs are revved up. So when you add, even when you link your activities and you are not seeing the expected date, please, the fastest place to go to just go to your schedule. So what they are saying is you're giving it a command to calculate itself based on the data you have put in at that point in time. So what it was remembering was the last one I scheduled. I haven't created schedule. That is why it was just waiting for me to give it that command, and that has happened. So you see that each of the activities, so on this, for you now to look at, because I said we're looking at create resource, we've done that, assign resource, we've done that, check cost distribution. So we're looking at the cost distribution. How do you check it? Okay. Go to columns, and you under cost, bring out budgeted labor cost. Budgeted labor cost. Just search for it like I always say. Find, just click on budgeted labor cost and use this your arrow to bring it out. At this point, you don't need successor, predecessor columns anymore. You don't need them anymore because you're done developing the schedule. What you're doing is just loading resources and the cost, right? So I just say apply. I don't even need my resources again because I'm done with that. I just say apply and I'm fine. Okay, so you look at this. Your project management, just look at it per WBS. As per WBS. Some of you that are working for contractors, EPCC contractors, you will find out that your report comes like this. Your project management, design approval, construction phase, commissioning and testing, or testing and commissioning, right? So your report comes like this, and this is what your course will be looking at per each WBS. So you now use this to merge and look at your BOQ. These totals, as I'm seeing here, is it the same on my BOQ? Is it the same on my BOQ? If it's not the same, what else can I do? If it's not the same, what else can I do? So if you have something like a PR, you have some miscellaneous, right? That's usually maybe around project management. So you can go and create a resource here. Oh, we have a miscellaneous that is 20,000. I create the resource, right? So I don't want my miscellaneous to be that far. I want it to be close to good. Good. So I think I'm fine where it is now. So miscellaneous, right? Miscellaneous expenses. Okay. Okay, so here, so you have that here, and it's a non-label. It's a non-label. So just change it to a non-label. It's not a label, it's even a cost item. Right? So another way to treat your miscellaneous, right, is to bring them here. Okay. Which activity that requires that expense? You have this. Okay. What is the expense item? Maybe it's PR to government. Government, right? The categories here, hardware, whatever you're buying, you can, is it travel expense for them? Let's say it's travel. Is it consultancy? So let's say it's travel. Okay. So the account that is being charged, the vendors has, so this is not much of a big stuff, right? So for expense, we'll treat expense separately. So that it doesn't confuse us. Let me finish with the resources of labor and all of that. But for expenses, this is where you can assign them, or like I also mentioned, you can also do it here. Put the miscellaneous here, right? Okay. Put the miscellaneous rate here. And what is the rate? Maybe my rate for that, maybe I have 2 million naira, right? I have 2 million naira I'm using to buy a car for one oga or for his travels or wherever, or to settle even community, yeah, to settle community. Sometimes also you can even put it as an activity on the schedule. It will just be an activity there, but you might not link it. You might not link it to have relationship. So you now put that what as 2 million. 2 million. Okay. That's 2, 1, 2, 3. Because I need one more. Okay. So this is it. 2 million naira. Right? So we'll go back. We'll go back to activities. We'll go back to activities. Now I want to assign that amount to this activity. This is under project management. You can't put it under design or wherever. You just put it under project management. You don't have any specific activity for it. So we just assign it to that activity. Assign. And this is the resource, right? And this is the rate. So what quantity do we have? Well, it's for 40 days. It's for 40 days. It's for 100. So let's try to change this to 1. So it's still on 8 million because we need to get this off. Then budgeted. Our budgeted is still 4. So in this case, the only way you can actually assign it is to add it as an activity. So if I add it as an activity here, because my activity will just have 1 day. My activity here will have 1. This is miscellaneous. Miscellaneous. put it at just one day. Once I have this, I can now assign it. So I take it out from here because it negates the principle. You can't have it as 40 days. You are trying to lump somewhere. It's just a sum you're trying to lump in somewhere. So I take it out from here. Yes. Okay. So I am assigning it to this resource. Assign. Miscellaneous to it. Good. So we have 20 million here. Is 200,000. So we have our 2 million. So we just want to lump it in, and you have your 2 million in there. So that's done. So I'm trying to now show us how we check our budgeted labor costs. For each of the, this is units, and this is your budgeted labor cost. So this is your resource, that's for your progress, your man hours. This is your man hours. Why this is your cost. Now, if you're doing your S-curve, you're trying to prepare your S-curve. This S-curve is your man hours, that's time. When you're tracking time, this is what you use to track your time. This is the overall for your time. Either you're doing it overall for the project, which is this, overall for your WBS, or for each WBS. Maybe you're doing, this is project management progress, this is design progress, construction progress is at 5% now. This is the yardstick, this is what you use. Why your budgeted labor cost, this is your cost tracking. So Mr. Project Controls Manager or Project Controls Engineer, these are the two things you look at. Your man hours and your cost. Those are the two things you look at. Now, so yesterday we finished up with the man hours and how we draw our S-curve. And the same thing applies here. So how do I see my cost, my budgeted cost distribution? My budgeted cost distribution. The same thing we did yesterday. You go back to your view, okay? Show on top, activity usage spreadsheet. Activity usage spreadsheet. And you're seeing your cost. So here, I take you come to this place. Maybe your own will not have that. So come back to this and go back to this place and look at. You can decide you want to do cumulative. If you want to use cumulative, I prefer cumulative. But some persons, so when you get to Excel, you will just be doing minus. But some persons prefer to use budgeted. That one, you get to Excel, you'll be using the to get your cumulative, you'll not be using plus sign. So that's just different, but they're almost the same thing. So in this case, I want us to look at your cumulative. So your spread, your monthly spread for your costs, you don't want to do cumulative. You might want to do cumulative when you're doing your overall report, but when you're doing your cost monitoring, cost control, you want to look at every month on its own merit, right? Every month on its own merit. Oh, what did we plan to spend this month and what have we spent in your actuals, right? So you want to look at each month on its own merit, or each week or each day. I know we do most of our cost planning, cost tracking and all of that. We do that as a cost control on a monthly basis. Your cost control, you can do that like a daily basis, but you don't need to stipulate that in Primavera. You can do that in any of your add-on softwares. So here, you want to bring out, so I said I'm not using cumulative, I want to use the time intervals. I want to use my budgeted cost. So I have it here, my budgeted labor cost. So I take it back, this is where it is. This is where you bring it out from. You can use available options to search for it, but you just you come in here, go to time intervals, and under your cost, you do what? You bring out your budgeted labor cost. If it's material or your budgeted total cost. Okay, apply. So this one, in the case of labor cost, you are looking at your labor. Budgeted material costs, you're looking at materials. Budgeted labor costs, budgeted material costs. So you're trying to analyze all your materials. Your budgeted total cost is everything. The budgeted total cost is what? Everything. So you can say apply. So it shows you all you need to see. So forget about the numbers you are seeing at the end, please. So when we get to Excel, when we're doing data cleanup, we'll usually remove them. So remember, this starts from the date your project starts, which is 1st December. My project start date is what? 1st December. It starts on the 1st of December. And the cost becomes, for each, this is the total cost, your labor cost. There is no material. So for this, for your, this first day, remember it's daily. So for your overall total, you only have project management on that day, right? You only have project management on that day. The next one, the same thing, continued. So you see the ones for design and approval. You see where design and approval started. It starts from here because that's the date. It started on the 30th. Yeah, it started on the 30th. The design work and approval started on the 30th. So you see the overall here has increased. The overall here has increased. Even your total cost, your total labor cost and all of that has increased, right? Because this started on that day. Then the next one is what? So let me try to collapse them. So we've talked about design. Then the next one, where did that one start? Construction. So construction started on the 8th of May. 8th of May. Sorry. Construction started on 18th of February. On the 18th of February. 18th of February. So I just want to expand so you can see. So if you want to expand, you want to zoom, you turn this, you allow, so when you want to just move, you allow the finger to come up. So you just use the knuckle to move it. But if you want to expand, you use your magnifying lens. So you just allow it to turn to it. Just try mousing around it to turn. So once it changes, then you can start zooming. Once these ones that you can move, you want to move this way or move this way, right? So construction started when? On the 18th of February. And you see the total budgeted cost for that day is even 71,000. Then overall is what? 71,600. Because these ones have no other. But by the time you put in a cumulative here, let's try to put one cumulative here, right? So that you see both the one and the cumulative on this in here. I have under units, cumulative total cost. Let's just put cumulative total. Okay, so let me search. So we see it will still give us a kind of cumulative, right? So this cumulative baseline projects, no project I use. Cumulative budgeted labor, not baseline. Cumulative budgeted labor units, yeah. So this one gives you your cumulative, but it's only going to calculate your labor units. So this one is at the top. Your cumulative is at the top. Your cumulative. So this cumulative is only calculating labor. So there are some places it might be empty. This one is just giving you your total cost for each day. So when you export now, you only use Excel to do your cumulative. If you want to do cumulative, just by adding all of this till the end, using a formula to add it to the end. So when you now go down, we said a project management started here. We've dealt with project management. We've done with design, the date the design started, and that's why we're having this. Then for construction started on the 18th of February, and we're able to see the roll-up. So you see this one is just calculating the resource. So we don't have the totals for that. So but your budgeted total cost for the day is calculated for the day. So if you want to get cumulative as per from this date to this date, you can do your additions. Then your testing and commission, see where it started on the 8th of May. So you see that whatever you're seeing now is just based on construction, because it's construction that's still going on. Your construction is still going on. So it's a bit very sweet, because whatever distribution you have is what it will show you when you are preparing your costs plan. Yeah, this is May. Okay, May 8th. Okay, good. So this is where my commissioning and handover starts, and that's why you're seeing your cost. And so these are some of the checks you put in place. You try to check to be sure that what you're doing is actually correct or not, right? What the date, you're looking at the schedule and whatever your spread is giving you, so that your spread will not be starting on a different day other than the date your schedule is starting. So once you have that done, then you can now decide to export this to Excel to do your S-curve for your costs. Now, looking at this, you can also look at it in Primavera, that's the curves, but the curves are not really very interesting. It doesn't come out that beautiful like in Primavera, really, like in Excel when it comes. So Primavera doesn't have very good, it doesn't have very good. So this we're going to show you activity usage for all the activities for your costs, right? So this is cost. If yours is not showing cost, you want to bring out this cost, you go to activity usage, and you can check either you want units or you want cost. You wouldn't want to put them together, to bundle them together, and so you can only display one at a time. So if I want to do my S-curve for duration or for man hours, I use units. But when I want to do my S-curve for costs, I use cost. Okay? So I want to do that, I use cost. So if I want to do for labor, for non-labor, the cost for labor, non-labor, and this, I can check all of that, apply, and I'm fine. Okay. So this is also to show you all of this that is being displayed. If I want to show, okay, only the budgeted, I don't want to show actuals because I've not started tracking actuals yet. I'm still developing my schedule. So I just go to this place. I try to uncheck the noise. Yeah, I don't need this. I don't need this, because what I actually need is just the cumulative, the budgeted and the cumulative to just show me. So your cumulative will show you a graph, right? While your budgeted will show you a histogram. Sorry, I'm trying to move this out. Okay. So we're seeing your budgeted labor, budgeted non-labor, budgeted material. And if I want to change them, But for me, if my preference is I just check once. I'll check cost first. I'll check because it's just view you need to view so that you don't complicate it. I'm checking only labor. I look at labor first. When I'm looking at the cost, so if I'm checking all of that, I just uncheck these ones. Look at labor. Oh, this is what my labor is looking at. Fine. Then I go back. I want to look at non-labor. That's my equipment. How are they distributed? I look at my equipment. Okay, fine. Then I go back. I want to check my non-labor, my materials. What's the cost distribution of my materials? So this project is heavy on costs, really. It's heavy on materials. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's heavy on materials. And this is my distribution. So once that is done, this is my distribution. Then, but if you want to add units, which is your scheduling duration, it's okay. Your labor units, projected labor. So this one is this. So let me check an activity that's good. This units, it's displaying this, right? Without the cost information, it will display only this. So if you are an engineer, you focus on this. If you are a scheduler, you focus on this. So this one is your baby, you don't need this. So sometimes you want to allow cost to drive your schedule to be based. Okay, I think that's clear enough. I don't know if you have any question. So let's give ourselves 5 minutes, rest our legs while I await the questions. Please, what happens if the total budgeted cost is more than the BOQ provision? You go and start looking for where you made the mistake. You go and start looking for where you made the mistake because you can't give what you don't have. You don't have your BOQ provision must be. So usually you can use your Primavera to form your BOQ, right? You can decide to use it. But if you want to do your traditional BOQ, you do it in Excel, then start transferring it here. Or maybe in some cases you have you had a tender document, so you were not the one that developed the BOQ. The BOQ has been developed, the price bill has been developed and was given to you. Then you now price and get the contract, then you can start transferring. That's fine. So that one, you have it in Excel and you can transfer to P6. But usually it's easier to detail your activities in P6 than on the BOQ. You know, in our description on the BOQ, you have a lot of activities that are like your excavation. You can describe all of it. You describe it on one activity description and put your units to it, your quantity, units, and price to it. But in planning, you can't do that. You have to break it down one after the other. You have to break it down one after the other. So my advice is, if you have such activity in your BOQ, use it as a WBS. Now break down, so create that line item on the BOQ, create it as a WBS. You can say excavation works. Then under excavation, you have a sub activity that is earthworks, right? Earthworks. So that one now you can now start breaking that your substructure works. You can start breaking it down excavation, right? You now do earthwork support. One. Then just like that, you have it one after the other. And sometimes, even in some cases, even that earthwork support, you will now break it down into meters by meters, numbers by numbers, just like that. Because if I have an excavation now on the BOQ that is about maybe 2,000 cubic, right? I have excavation that's about 2,000 cubic. On my schedule, I will not be recognizing 50-meter length or 100-meter length, the ones that can be done in one day or even in one shift. So the activities that can be done, they want detail you go to on your schedule. So you don't have that luxury that you have on the BOQ where you can sum up the activities and roll it up. But so, and this will not help you. So that's why I'm saying if you're the one generating it, is an internally used schedule, you can use your P6 to prepare your BOQ. Not to try descriptions, create them as WBS, then do the breaking down in the activities. So outline all the activities underneath it. That's the safest way, so that your course, you'll be able to now assign costs to those things one after the other. Then you will not make errors. So if you check, oh, which of the WBS is now more, you can now trace your way back and be able to correct it. All right, so we'll go back to our project. Open. And my OneNote, that is our guide to the course loading. Course profile. Okay, so we'll later look at how to load directly from the BOQ, because I was explaining to us earlier that you can create those things as that you can create it as a WBS and break down your activities also. But there is a way you can also load it directly as a lump sum on your BOQ. So I'll show us that, but I will keep that one for the last, so that the people that are used to running away, they'll miss that part. So if you stay to the end, you get that part. Okay. So, but now let's progress. On my list is we have baselines. Baselines. After creating your schedule, there's something you do. Have you baselined? Have you baselined your schedule? What does it mean? What does your baseline? Your baseline simply means freezing your schedule, freezing your plan. I've cost loaded, I've resource loaded my schedule, I've done my relationship, I've assigned my calendars, I've done all of that, right? And I want to start tracking, monitoring and control. Remember that after baselining, the next thing is project monitoring and control. So here I will add cost loading from the BOQ. Okay, so let me add that here. Cost loading from BOQ. Okay. So how do I set my baselines? How do I set my baseline? What does it even mean? So Primavera has the capacity to take 50 baselines at the same time. So for those of us that, oh, this schedule, we need to baseline this schedule. It has exceeded blah, blah, blah duration. The negative variance in percentage is now too much. I want to, so you can change and change and change. Or maybe there are additional works that have come in and I've added those additional works. Now, initially I had like 5,000 activities, but because of this new scope, now I have about 7,000 activities. Is a new revision, right? It's a new revision, so you have to re-baseline the schedule, or you save it as another baseline. But you need to keep the history. You need to keep the history. So Primavera is very robust. It has helped you to do all of that. And how do you do so? And before you start progressing your schedule, you must baseline your schedule. That means you're taking a snapshot of what you have planned and you save it, so that when you start your monitoring and control, you have your basis for comparison. Oh, what did I plan and what am I earning? What did I plan and what is the actual? What is my planned cost? What is my actual cost, right? So that is how you look at that. So how do we baseline? It's very easy. It's very, very simple. And baselines, what you do is, I'm changing this out now to my normal Gantt. So this is your default. What I'm changing to is the default top. Okay, Gantt chart. So yes, this Gantt chart, this is your default really. It's only when you're doing all those things that we're doing. So it's only you, the planner, that needs all of that. But when you want to print, when we get to printing, I'll show us you print with the default view. So that you can see the reason why we usually ask people to send us the ZAR file. Yeah. The reason we ask people to send us the ZAR file. I think I'm seeing QS Priscilla. God bless you, ma'am. And QS Bukola, I don't know if some of you know her. Today is her birthday. So please, you can type happy birthday to her. I don't know if she's on the call, would have sang happy birthday song for her. Okay, but let me continue. So how do we baseline the schedule? I've finished planning. Remember, each time I say you save a layout, you save layout, you save layout. Everything you're doing, you save different layouts for them because it's a go-to. It makes the work easy. It's like having a template. You just go call up your template and use your template. So that's how it is. That's why you usually save those layouts so that you don't keep going back and forth, or your Primavera screen becomes very busy, especially when you are in a company when they give you only laptop, right? Because for planning like this, you usually have very wide screens so that you can see your schedule from end to end. You can see both your activity tables and your Gantt charts, right? You see your activity table and your Gantt charts. You see all of them all at once because you do those analyses at once. But if you have a small laptop, you see how we're trying to fiddle and move this way, move that way. It's not supposed to be. So it makes the analysis, the work a bit more tedious. So now we're gradually entering into monitoring and control. We're transiting from planning into monitoring and control. And the first step in monitoring and control is for you to baseline. The first step in monitoring and control is baseline. Now, when you say baseline, you're getting people to, you have finished the schedule, you have printed it out, you get the right parties to sign off on it. Signing off means, oh, the client has accepted my schedule, it has been reviewed, and both parties are happy with it, and we sign off on it. It becomes part of the contract document. The signed off copy, because you might have it on DocuSign, you can upload it on DocuSign, put it on PDF and put it on DocuSign and everybody signs off, or you have a hard copy and it's signed off on. You issue it with your company cover letter and it's signed off and approved. But you must have a signed copy. That is when it becomes authentic. That is when it can be used for claims. That's when it can be used for claims. That's when it becomes a legal tender that in case of adjudications, you might need to have issues with going to the court and all of that. You can present that as a contract document. But if it's not signed, then it is just one of the tissue papers you have. So if there are issues, you can't use it. So that's why you must get it signed. So of course, we know our job as contract administrators. So this is part of what you administer to save your principal or the person you're working for. And of course, it's for both parties. It helps both parties. We're not envisaging issues, but that's the right thing to be done. Get it signed off and it becomes a contractual document and everybody works with it. It becomes the Bible of the team. Now let's go. So the next is, I said we're baselining. How do I baseline? How do I baseline? So remember, it's a project data. So you go to projects, right? So first of all, in baselining, the first thing you do is to maintain baseline. So first thing you do is what? Maintain baseline. Maintain baselines. And the second one is what? Assign baselines. So you can maintain up to 50 in the life, 50 baselines in the life of the schedule. Then you can assign maximum of 3. 3 maximum. Yeah, you can assign only 3 at a time, but you can only do. So let me get it out of the clogged area. So this is it. So you maintain baselines, 50 baselines max. Then you assign baseline, you can assign just 3. So how do I baseline? You go to project, okay? Project, you have project. You click on maintain baselines. Maintain baselines. So this is where I say you can maintain up to 3 or up to 50. Can keep adding, and you have up to 50 baselines here. Now, what are the different areas you can get baselines from? You can create this your current project now that is open. Okay? You can have it as a baseline. You not keep revising it. You can also bring another schedule that is in the database. It is not open like this, but you want to compare. Maybe I've done this job last year. Okay, let me say I did train 6 turnaround. I did that project in 2020, and I'm doing the same project in 2024, right? I'm doing an MI on that plant in 2024. So now I want to compare the schedule I've developed for 2024 and what I used in 2020. Remember, the plants did not change. It's the same equipment. It's the same equipment I worked on. So let me see my data, whether it's changed. Did I actually implement my lessons learned or not? So in this case, I'm working on my 2024 schedule, but I want to also compare it with my 2020 schedule. Okay. And what do? So first, let me show us how to baseline the current schedule, the open schedule. And how do you do that? You click on add. Now, a pop-up will come up and it will ask you, what would you like to do? What would you like to do? The first one, the default response is save a copy of the current schedule as a new baseline. That's one option. The second option will say convert another project to a new baseline of the current project. Convert another project to a new baseline of the current project. So because I want to save this current project, I click on only this first one, save a copy of current project as a new baseline. I click OK. Voila, I'm fine. This one is this particular project. But I want to bring, if I want to now bring another project in here, I want to bring in another project. I click on add. So I use the second option. So this one now, I'm bringing in my 2020. This first one, I did my 2024. But this second one is I'm bringing in my 2020. That is not even part of this project, but I just want to compare some things. And I bring in here, okay? Remember, your baselines only look at dates, please. Your baselines you're bringing in. So you see, it will give you, it will open up the whole database to you. Remember, you must have had that schedule in your database already, in your project view. It will display your project view. So you look at that project. Okay, so I see Tracy's VMS 2020, good. And I do what? I accept it. Okay? And it has loaded it for me. VMS Tracy's 2020. So that's how to bring in, those are the two ways you can maintain baseline. So you can maintain baseline of the current project, or you can maintain the baseline of another project that is not on the current project, but it comes in here. So that's how to bring it in for analysis or whatever you want to do. Okay, the next step is, well, so you close. After maintaining baseline, you close. That does not mean that it can be displayed. It's like you a folder stock up on your desktop and you drop a document there. If you don't display it, it can't be seen, right? If you don't display it, it can't be seen. You can't see it. So what do? You have to assign the baseline. So remember when we did maintain baseline, when we maintained our baseline, we have so many baselines. So, and I told us that we can have more than 50 here, but that does not, if you don't assign any, you will not see anyone displayed in the baselines columns. You will not see anyone displayed. So what do? You close this. So which baseline do I want to be displayed? So I go to assign baselines. Assign baselines. And in my assign baseline, you see project baseline. Which one do I want to be the baseline that is for the project? Not the one that I'm bringing in now. It is the primary baseline as well. So if I want to compare, I can now bring my secondary baseline here. Yeah. So remember, I said you can only assign 3. So you see your primary baseline, your secondary baseline, and your tertiary baseline. But the main one is this, your primary. So this and this. If you're not bringing any other one, like in this case, we don't have any need for that analysis. You are bringing in, you only load here and here. Don't load only one place. Load it both as your project baseline and as your primary baseline. Don't just leave this place blank and just leave it here. No. Or leave this place blank. Right? you have to do what? Load both here and here at the same time. And you click what? Okay. So you've assigned your baseline. Now let's see how that baseline is displayed. Let's see how this baseline is displayed. So let's see how it is displayed. How do I know that this is displayed? Remember, I changed these dates, but this is not what I want. Now, let me explain some things about dates to us. So here we are gradually going to develop our tracking, our progress tracking layout, progress monitoring and control layout. So we're looking at our columns, and I need some dates. I don't need predecessors anymore. I don't need projected labor units anymore. I don't need successors. I don't need resources. I need calendar. I need units percent complete. My start and finish dates, yes, I need them. Then I need project baseline start. So I go to dates. Project, that's BL project. BL project finish. That's baseline project finish date. BL project start. Okay. Actual start, actual finish. So I want to arrange them. I have my original duration. My start and finish dates, I want them to be at the end. So I want my baselines. After my baselines, after my start and finish baselines, then I want my actuals to follow. Actual start and actual finish. Then my project start and finish. Okay. In this case, I don't want to keep this. I'll tell us why. I don't want to keep this. So I want to rename this, okay, to forecast start and forecast finish. Where is it? Okay, this. I want to rename it to forecast start and forecast finish. Forecast. Yeah. And I'm renaming this also. Ouch. I messed myself. Okay, so let's bring it up again. So remember, I brought out my dates. I have this. I don't need this. I don't need this. I need this start and finish becomes my forecast. My resources, I don't need this. I don't need my floats. I need my units percent complete. My percentage complete field, I need my units percent complete, right? Okay, that's out. Then I go back to my dates. My date, I need I can decide to do that, but it doesn't change. Okay, this doesn't change really. So if I bring this out, I take this out. On my dates, my actual start, my actual finish, my BL projects finish, and my BL project starts. Okay. Okay, so take it up. After your duration, I want my duration first. My ID, activity name, BL project duration, BL project start, BL project finish, actual start, actual finish, start and finish, unit percent complete. Okay, if I feel we need something else, I'm gonna bring that up. But right now, I think we're good. Apply OK. This is it. Now, you've seen that because you've assigned the baseline, it is showing your actuals don't have any dates. Your forecast and your actual. So I said I was going to change this to forecast. So let's edit that. Your normal start and finish. I will explain as we progress with the monitoring and control. I will explain why I changed this up to forecast date. Then this edit as well. Change it to focus finish. Not too fast. Okay, no question. I think I'm okay. All right. We have our activity ID. We have our activity name. We have line duration. This we have. So we are done project monitoring and control. So we are going to save. Firstly, under project monitoring and control, you now save, develop schedule tracking layout. Okay. Develop schedule tracking layout, which we have done. Schedule tracking or progress tracking. Let's say progress tracking layout. Right? Okay. Then now you need to save the layout. That's just it. So you've brought out the columns that you actually have need for, what you have need of, and you will now do what you do. This is your layout. Save layout as. So it's only for me assignment template. So this one we're changing it to what? Progress tracking or monitoring and control, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Tracking layout. So it will always be your go-to. So whatever you're doing at that point, remember we started this, let's call it some 6 days ago. Now we are done developing our schedule and we are at the point of, because we've mobilized to site, we baseline our schedule, we want to start monitoring progress. So we've finished cooking the food. We are going to serve it and see and start getting feedback how this food is tasting, you know? So what do we do? So you have your actual start, so this your competence as a planning, create the voice for ability as a professional viewer of the schedule and be able to advise what should be done on the schedule. And how do you do this? So this is where that happens in your monitoring and control. Now this is an activity. Let's say this activity, we have progressed it. And let me check. I think this has a question so that I don't do random things. I just want to, this question I issued to us, I know it has information on progress. So let's see. I want us to look at something here on this schedule. Did you see your baseline? Did you see your critical parts? Use a filter of the critical part. I just want to see only the critical parts activities, right? Just click on critical. So it's showing only the critical part activities. So I can decide to change. This is maybe spread so much. Let me change my time scale. Okay, so this is where our critical part of this project. So that is the root of our, or the parts that the start and the finish date activities. You must keep an eye on them. So usually you print out one, you can update other ones, but what you should be on, there is eyes on the board 2-4. That's your eyes must automatically means a slip on your project. That is a slip in your project duration. You're going to have delay. You might have, so when we do delay analysis, we have a present delay, present delays. We have future delays. So we have present delay with schedule impacts. Schedule impacts. We have present delay without schedule impacts. We have future delay with schedule impact. Future delay with schedule impact. and you have future delay without schedule impact. But the most important is you want to work on your present delay and your future delays. For me, the money maker is your future delays and not the present delays. Your present delay, there's a problem already. But your future delays help you to track and make sure your project doesn't get into problem. So what we're doing now is called critical path analysis. Okay, it's under your monitoring and control. Critical path analysis. So your critical path determines your project duration. Determines yeah. So you have present delay. In your critical path analysis, you have present delay with schedule impact. Okay, you have schedule delay with, okay, then the next is what? Present delay without schedule impact. Okay, then you have future delay with schedule impact, and future delay without schedule impact. Future delay without schedule impact. Right? So now this last one, future delay without schedule impact, you do nothing. You just look at it and do nothing. But this future delay with schedule impact, for me, it is a money maker. Is your money maker. Right? And what do I mean? Your present delay with schedule impact, there's a problem already. It have impacted your schedule, so you'll be fighting fire. So this is just firefighting. This is firefighting. So present delay without schedule impact, so there's opportunity for recovery here. So if you monitor this future delay with schedule impact, if you monitor it, you will not get into present delay with schedule impact. If you monitor this one properly, you will not arrive here. Because you missed it here, that is what has brought you to this part. And these ones that have impact, they are your critical, always on the critical parts. Yeah, anything that has is always on the critical parts. These ones without impact, they are non-critical. These ones are non-critical. They might be near critical, but they are non-critical. So the ones you really need to, as in you will knock on, if I might use the words of one of my colleagues, you need to knock on with whoever is in charge to make sure that the company doesn't get to this point. When you get to this point, a lot of things are at stake. You're fighting fire, and the team will no longer be at rest. They won't be relaxed. You're fighting fire. Everybody, you can make mistakes. You can have errors, quality issues, safety issues can result when you get to this place. So you want to always solve your problems from this end, the money maker. This is you don't allow, if you're able to manage your project such that project manager, you're a good project manager, that before it gets to this point, it has been arrested. Of course, there are some things that are not in your hands, but you monitor and control the project such that at least from your own end, you have always given them the point and the impact. And I'm not sure. And when you do this, also make sure you put the cost implication of delays. Cost implication of delays when you do this. So you do all this analysis. Now, what does it mean? Remember, I've printed out this critical part. So after developing your schedule, print out your critical part and paste it maybe in your war room, your project meeting room, paste it there. This is your critical part. Maybe you can have a level 1, a high level, put it there, very bold for everybody to see. The key decision makers should have that. You can call a meeting to intimate them and educate your team on what it means to the project if your project manager does not know how to use a schedule. Because some persons will go, oh, I have PMP, I'm a project manager, fine and good. But if you don't have a sound planner, you will see mess up. So, but if you have good background in planning and scheduling, then you are good to go. So when you come to this, you print it out and you're looking at it every day and you're monitoring and controlling it. Those days, my boss, when I was in Prodeco, he doesn't, no matter the high caliber of meeting he's in, his doors are open, always open to his planner, always, even before the cost guy, always. Why? You give him the bad news on time so that he doesn't go fighting fire because it will mess up his job. So anytime you do finish your analysis, you're going back to tell him, sir, we have a challenge. We're going to have a challenge in the next 2 weeks. Please, this and this is what we need to do if we must not have this problem. But you don't come to him and say, we are in delay already. Oh. So, but you didn't warn him before then. So you are not doing your job. You need to warn him weeks, months ahead, before then, so that he doesn't get into problem. That is why you're there. You are his eyes to look at these things, analyze it, and predict what is going to happen in the future of that project. That said, so you identify, but how do I get this done so that I don't fight fire? I don't know if I mentioned something when we're developing the schedule. I talked about how we determine our critical parts. So first of all, from the get-go, you need to decide how many days, how many activities should be on the critical part. Which activities parts? So your critical parts usually is activities that have zero float. That is what P6 defines. That is the definition of P6. That is activities that had zero float, zero total float. Are they correct? Yes, they are correct. But how do you now, as a planner, tweak that a little? Tweak that a little to help you monitor your projects. So you can decide that, oh, if my schedule is in days, right? Any activity that has 3 days float will be on the critical part. That means I have 3 days to dance Makosa before before I run into problems, before the delays will start showing on the schedule. Because really, delays has a way of putting the whole team in panic. And you as a planner, you will not enjoy that job. I must bet you will not. You are only at rest when there is no problem on your project. But when your project is in delay, you will explain and explain. You do a manner of analysis on that schedule to prove to everyone that you are not the problem. So everybody will be coming to you. But when there is no issue, and you start your control from when you are planning, you don't start control from when you are executing. You have to put on your thinking cap and put, just like this one I'm talking about, going back to your float to tweak it. And how do we do that? Sorry, I don't want to. Let me just minimize. How do I do that? How do I tweak it? Yeah. Click on these options, right? You see, total floats less than or equal to. You see, it's 0 hours. right? 0 hours. Total float is equal to 0 hours. There was a project I did, that was in 2014, 72 apartments. NLNG 72 apartments. Akon was the contractor that did that job. And what did I do? I just told them your critical path will be 15 days. 15 days. Any job that's 3 weeks, I put float of 3 weeks on any job on the critical path. So everybody that sees me printing this, they'll say all of them will be red because my listing has shown 15 days. 15 days, right? Okay, I close. And I'll do what? Schedule it. Okay, so if I go back to pick my floats now, my critical part, so it might not work with this one. Good. You see it? So you see my critical part now has changed, it has increased. You notice my critical part has increased. I had like just 3 activities before now, but because I've changed it, I've done something to it, I have more activities here. So what it means is that with these activities, these other ones have enough float, and we put an eye on them. And once anybody sees it in red, they will be so serious with it. Because critical part activities are activities that you just have to put your eyes on them. The resources, when I mean put your eyes, the resources must be done on time, according to plan. It must have enough resources. And if there are issues, you have to intervene immediately. You have to intervene immediately. It is not activities you use in playing politics. Oh, we want to buy material from Italy. We did not. So you also need to take your time when planning, assigning duration to those activities. You don't spoil your company reputation and you mess yourself up. So this is the reason most projects you see them in delay, because they don't respect this. They don't respect this, or their planner, they don't respect their planner. Is one person they just push aside. But if the planner is actually doing well by bringing out this delay implication and the cost, what the company intends to lose, what the company will have to lose if they don't follow his or her advice, they will heed to it. By the time you delay 2 days, you say, God, we've lost 6 million. 3 days, we are losing 10 million. The guy, the amount will be sounding in his head. So convert those delays to money. That is when it will be, so like in our case, for each day, I think it's about 150 million US dollars for each day. So on turnarounds, 150 million US dollars. So they can pay you anything to even save 1 day. Yes, they can pay anything to save 1 day. Contractor wants to come in, bring in excess resources, because there is no way you spend up to 150 million US dollars for 1 day. So if you now convert it, so that's why when it comes to planning on turnarounds, it's madhouse. They don't give that much support to project planning like they do to turnarounds, because the goose that lays the golden egg is down and it has to come up. It has to come up. Okay, so that explains. We want to now go to our progress. We want to enter progress, right? Now, let's say on this date, I think I would like to change my date, but not a problem. Maybe I can use it. So on this date, they have finished the work. Your project has started. You've done your kickoff meeting, right? Layout. I want to, what you'll be using now is status. Remember, we have used resource, used codes, we have used relationships, we've gone to general. Now we want to use status. This is what you use for your progress, because you are statusing the activities. Yeah, your statistics, that's what it is. So you want to save your layout. I think I've saved, but maybe I'll have to update. Yeah, I did save. So I just update my layout because activity we have started the job. So you go to site. So our normal valuation, you go to site, you take measurement. That's what happens here. You go to site, you go take measurements, or if you have for me, of course it's just the normal thing. You go I'll send to you because there are some things you might not be exposed to. Some jobs might have been done before they are covered. Maybe conduiting has been done. Some jobs are processes that are in the pipe that you don't see, right? So you depend on the experts to just give you the details, you updates on that. And you get those updates. You can develop your updating spreadsheets, the spreadsheet you use in getting your progress, and come in here. So kickoff has been done, award has been done, and what date was it done? Did we start on that day? Maybe let's say we started 5 days in delay. So we started on the 15th, right? Instead of, so I'll click on started first. I'll click on started. That's the first thing. I'll click on 15th, December 15th. Okay. 15th is what? These dates. Select. We started 7 a.m. Good. And we have it here. So because it's a milestone, remember, it had only a start date. So that's why it's 100, right? It's 100. Good. So we go back to the second activity. Second activity, let's say it started on 16th, a day after kickoff. So I click on started and I change my start date to when? To 16th. 16th. And it has gone 50%. Let's say 50%. Okay, 50%. So now I need to change my unit type. My unit type to my percentage complete type. I need to change it to units. Remember, I'm running my progress using unit percent complete. So here I have 50. So 50% of your budgeted labor unit is what? I have my budgeted labor unit is 2,000. So 50% is 1,000. I know sometimes it's like that. So this particular challenge, Primavera has not found solution to it. So usually when this happens, I'll just try another activity, or when I restart it the next day, it will start again. So it's not something to fret over. So this other activity, I can still change this other activity. Let's see. This one, let's say it started on the same day, right? And here I have what? 50% as well. So you see, so you can't explain what happened to this, but this one, it took it. So this is 50%, right? I change it to units as well. Under my general, I change this to units. I want the units to drive. I don't want duration to drive. So I come back and I change to what? 50%. My units, I have 800. Okay, let's refresh. Complete. Now let me tell you I don't like physical percent track. And I have my schedule performance I have my units already. I have my physical already. So in P6, it's only units that rolls up to your overall. Units is the only one that rolls up. So at this point, so you see here at your project level. So if I collapse this now, so what is your percentage of your project? It's only this that does that for you. Yeah, it's units that does that for you, but your physical percent complete doesn't give you that option. It can roll up at WBS, but at project level, no. Yeah, so you can put your percentages here, and so let's try here if it works. So I'll still change to, if I restart now to start to start working. That's the challenge with this. But there is no explanation to it after some time to start working. No explanation for now. No, none that I know. Right? Percent complete. So let me bring it percent complete. So your original duration is 40 days for this activity. Because you are going to status all of this, both your duration, your percentage, your labor units. You're going to status all of this. So if you take an activity, I want to bring out schedule percent complete so that let's see which of them is rolling up percent complete. Okay. So duration percent, so that's what this has accepted. The duration percent complete. Okay. It's making me bring out so many fields. I might have to restart my system and start all over. But let me show us what we need to do. So here you have activity number 1. So I'm taking out my filter. Okay, I'm done with explaining that. So I'm taking out my filter. So that I can see all my activities. So all my activities are shown. So this first one has been progressed. Okay, that's the first one. And you see the physical is updated, it's 100%. The duration is updated, but units is not. Of course, that one doesn't have units because there is no resource on it, so it doesn't have any units. Then the 1st of December, that was. We go to 15th. Our 15th becomes what? Becomes our data date, means the date you are putting in that progress. The date you are running that report, that is your data date. That's what it's on the 15th, end of the day, end of shift. End of shift might be, so your duration complete, your schedule percent. So most people use this also as their plan. Use this as their plan. Their performance complete is their actual. Use this one as their plan. I don't do my progress from here. I do it in Excel. I export the units. Those spread I showed you from my SQL. But if you want to run your report straight from here, this column, schedule percent complete, is your plan. While your performance percent complete, let me bring that out. Your performance percent complete is your actual. Under your best and past. Performance percent complete. Performance percent complete. That's your actual. Right? So that's what it is. So this is your plan. This is your actual. That's you're running progress straight from P6. You're running progress straight from P6. You don't want to bring in Excel or anything. You do your thing from here. So this is your plan. This is your actual. And you remember we are in delay. Now, I want us to do the delay. Okay? So just remember, start date for your activities to start, you have to do what? You have to check. You have to check started. Started. Right? And for it to finish, you have to do what? Complete. Okay? Then started as well. For it to finish, you say completed. How many days did it take? Within 40 days. So, but it is complete, it will take for. So you could say, okay, your end date, as per your data date, the end date of that activity. So I don't want us to complete this one yet. The end date of that activity is February 7th. February 7th, February is enough now. February 7th is, you need to now, so because this cannot change, except you change this to February 7th, right? Unless you change this to February 7th, that is when it can change. Change this to February 7th. And February 7th is on a Sunday. Okay? So it gives you your 40 days. That is if it was done in 40 days. But if it was done in 24 days, why not? Or 28 days or less. It shows. You just leave it to show. Now, when you come back to this place, I want us to do the analysis of our delays. This is your forecast finish. This is your project start. Because if you see from the plan, your baselines, so I want us to see this clearly. I have starts. My baseline start is 1st to 8th May. Okay? But because I had a delayed start of 5 days, it is showing this is my forecast. Although my project is not finished yet, but this is what is showing me. That at the end of the day, this your project is already in how many days in delay? 14 minus 8 is about 6 days, right? So you have like a 6-day delay already. So that's how you do your analysis. You are comparing this and this, comparing this and this. That's what shows you your forecast. So each time I said something about future delay. The impact of this first activity. So if I look at my critical parts now, if I go back to my filter and check, I will be able to see my future delays there. Your present delay is, the activities that are connected. Those ones are your present delay. Delay as per today, that is your present. When I say present delay, it's your delay as at your data date. It is your delay as at today. What is the schedule doing? Which are the activities that are in delay? So you quickly go to your filter. Go to your filter, drop down. Activities that are in delay, delayed activities. So you're going to create a filter for it because you don't have a filter that is a default filter for it, okay? So you only have for completed, in progress, and all of that. So, but let's see. For activities that have not started, but they are supposed to have started, let's say today, our data date as per this project, because everything hinges on your data date. You must, after putting your progress, now the step for imputing progress is 1. Imputing progress. inputting progress steps. One is click on or select the activity in question. Click on the desired activity. Activity on the activity window. Second is that on your activity details, on the activity details, click or check the start date box. Check started. The started box, right? The next is that select the start date. Select the actual start date. Yeah. The next is input percentage complete. Percentage of work done. So if activity is still in progress, where activity is still in progress, right? Where activity is still in progress, or is in progress. Is in progress, okay? But where it's completed, where activity is completed is 100%. Click on finish date, right? On the finished date, check finished box. Check finished box and select actual finish date. Okay, so this is those are the steps. You click on your desired activity, like one of it. You check on the started. If you don't check that started, you can't impute anything. So it gives you a command that, oh, I've started. So that's one of the difference between Microsoft Project and Primavera. Microsoft Project, you can easily just put your percentage to choose dates for you if you don't edit it. But this one, if you don't, you have to follow it the real way it should be, one after the other. Okay, so you just have to do that. Follow these steps one after the other. Select the actual start date, impute the percentage of work done, where activity is in progress, where activity is 100%, check finish box and select. So this is your finish box that I said you select. That's this. So when it's 100%, once you check finish box, this will come. This will be in, right? So this system actually wants me to shut it down, but so that's why it's not. But let's continue until when I think we can shut down. But I just want us to go ahead. Okay, let me check our questions. Please, ma'am, permit. Okay, no. Ma, what will you do even if you advise on the cost on the cost implication of delay? Your MD said he has not been paid by the clients. No. So in this case, it's very simple. You have advised your client. The cost implication will become your claims because the delay is coming from the client. You keep monitoring it and putting it down. Then your company or the legal arm of your company lawyer will write to the the clients. Because by the time those claims issue comes up, those are the details you need to present to really file for your claims from the client. So you need to keep detailing it. He will be happy. Your MD will be telling you, don't worry, just be keeping it. Unless your MD decides that, because he will be seeing what he's going to lose. Unless your MD decide that, you know what, I don't want to lay claims so that they can give me projects in future, so they will not blacklist me. If not that, keep that information. Whether they use it or not, you never can tell. The search project I was talking about that we now had to set 15 days, it still went into delay. In short, that project was delivered 18 months in delay after the original plan ended. Even with all those things that I put in. Yeah, it was delivered 18 months after. Why? Because at a point they even had to go to court. We had to stop for like 6 months. Some approvals were not given. The contract type had to change. A lot of things. So your own is just to keep the history and keep the lessons learned, so that the next, and that's now made it that the company eventually was chased out of the island. Yeah, because at the point, yeah, when you are, some contractors do that when they are bidding for projects, they go for lowest bidder, the lowest of low. And when you get into the job, you start complaining. Where your eyes tied when you sign this contract. Now you'll be using one way or the other to try to make money. Now contract says you should start, you do the job, execute this work, and we pay you for work done, value of work done. We're not mobilizing you a time. We're going to pay you value of work done. And we're not going to pay for materials on site. We are going to pay for materials installed. And as a contractor that has deep pocket and he has access to loans, he has bought these materials and he's saying, so by the time he bought the materials, it was inspected, they had cracks. I think it was during storage that they had cracks. So he bought them early. It was in foundation level. And we are not going to pay until you install those things at site. So by the time it was about to be installed, and we looked at the materials, they were rejected, and it became an issue. You know, it became an issue, big issue. So at the end, I think they came to a win-win and did 50-50 pay. But if you did not itemize, so we even had to go into looking at the schedule, critical path analysis, who is causing the delays and all of that. So me and the other planner, we were locking horns, because, and I told the guy, don't do me boo-boo, you know. So he's like that, because he wants to cover up for his own clients. Me, I want to cover up for my own boss. So that is it. Your own company and my own company, but we must also say the truth where the challenges are coming. There are letters. That's why you write letters. You have project letters that you write and telling your client, oh, this is this, so also dates, you have it dated, signed, and they receive, they acknowledge. When you drop letters, you say acknowledge, received, this so letter received by me. You stamp it and you collect your copy. It's evidence. So you know how projects run. So that's it. So you don't bother yourself, just keep doing your job. That's it. And that guy will value you. Forget that he's telling you he's not using it. He knows what you're doing. So when he meets a client that is normal, right, that follows right principles, then you see that you'll be his go-to person at any point in time. Yeah. Okay. So that said, so I was explaining to us how the steps that you use in imputing the progress, right? You say, let's finish date and you are fine. And I was now looking at the delay, how we're seeing how this delay is on the schedule. So when you are analyzing progress, after imputing your progress, after imputing your progress, the next thing is to click on schedule and change your data date. Your data date, because maybe I'm reporting every week. I'm reporting every week. So my cutoff date, my report date is usually on Friday. That's my cutoff, right? My cutoff is usually on Friday, close of business on Friday. I might come in on weekends to do my report so that by Monday morning, the report has been circulated and we can start finding solution to our problems. So I use my Saturday to run my progress, but my cutoff is Friday. So the cutoff date is what I'll put in there, not the day I'm running my report. My cutoff date is Friday, and that's what I'm going to do. I'll just change it to Friday date, whatever it is. Maybe my Friday in this case is 18th, 6 p.m. I select that. That's my data date. That's my data date. Okay? 6 p.m. So by the time I will now click on schedule. You do that every time you run your report. Every time you run your report. So your schedule will be moving. It will be moving. It will be showing you how the delays are going. How the delays are going. Right? Also, you can do something here. You can bring out some bars so that you'll be seeing the bars yourself. Okay, I don't need my actual work. So I need my baseline, project baseline. Current bars, do I need current bars? Okay, oh, with current bars. I need to spool it 100 times. So let's allow this to be filled first. Okay. Baseline milestone, project baseline bar. This is a milestone. So I can check my primary baseline bar. So this is normal. Primary baseline bar, okay. So that this is the color for it. This is the color. So, and I'm comparing it with my actual, right? My actual work. Actual work. Okay. I might not need my, then I need my remaining work. Okay. So it's showing, you see how this one have moved out. This one was, it now came back. So you see the difference, your baseline, this is my baseline. So this means that it's being done earlier. This means, but this one is becoming late. So you have future delays here. Even if it has not gotten to that date, you are seeing future delays here. You're seeing future delays on the critical part already. That is where you start shouting alarm. Please, we need to correct this problem here because there is a future. This line is your status date. This line is your status. So anything from here front, anything from this line, this blue line, this way is future. From this one back is present. So you have a present delay already, although it has been executed, but it was executed in delay. So that delay now, this one, is what is reflecting on these ones. Is what is reflecting on these ones. Although this one was done earlier, but these ones are having that challenge right now. You're having future delays here. So that's why I said future delays, the money maker. This is the one you start sounding alarm. This is the one you start sounding alarm and telling them that, oh, see where we are, see the delay we have here now. The only way we can recover is to maybe increase people so that this job will come back early. Make sure we finish this one on time so that the 5 days we lost, we might recover it. This is what, because this is already future delay. You're seeing it already. This is week 1, week 2, and this is week 3. So in week 3, week 4, week 5, your future delays are showing already. So if you're able to salvage this one, these ones might come back. Yeah, they might come back. So this red that moved might come back. So that is how you do your analysis. So you circulate it and send to whoever needs it to be done. Sometimes I put it in Excel. I just take these dates, put them in Excel, do the mathematics to say this minus this number of days in delay, and you show the number of days in delay already. That's the future delay. Put them in Excel and send it out. If you want to maybe use Excel to do this as well, to make bars that looks like this and send it, it's up to you. You just want to do your visuals to make your visuals look fantastic, because it's not everybody that has the patience to look at Primavera. It's not everybody that has that patience. So you can do that as well. But this is the analysis you do. You just bring out these dates, bring out your forecast after updating. So irrespective, sometimes your percentage complete can be looking good, right? The percentage complete can be looking good, but here, so like when we look at this percentage complete now, see here, this and this, your percentage complete is looking good, fantastic. Do you know why? It was because of this activity that we did on time, this particular one. That is why this actual is looking 6.5 over 3.91. I'm doing well. This one, you can send this to clients and use it to deceive the people that don't know. But as for you, come here and see that you're going to run into problem. Remember, it's even showing already on your dates that 8 versus 17. 8 versus 17. So it's already showing you on your date, irrespective of whatever unit. So you might be good on cost. That is what this one is saying. I am good on cost, right? But hey, we are not good on time. We are good on cost, but we're not good on time. So for us to now gain more time, we have to re-strategize. That's the story. So if you just base your distance, we are 5% ahead of schedule. That's not true. Yes, cost, you're looking good, but time, no. What can we do in case of fixed contracts? Yeah, when you have a fixed contract, it's a fixed contract, but so that's why you need to look at your contracts. And if you have a fixed contract, it depends on whatever and there is no room for variation. There is no room for variation. Make sure that project is turnkey. And that means you decide everything, because you don't leave your key money makers or success factor in the hands of another person to be in control of that. If I have a fixed contract, that's fine. But you must make sure that in the contract, that if someone is saying, oh, yes, I have a fixed contract, but as a client, I have 14 days window to review my documents. Any deliverable that comes to me, I will quality check it in 14 days and return. And for 3 months, the man did not, maybe your foundation details. For 3 months, the guy they've not finished their quality check to send back to approve for construction drawing. You won't say, because I have a fixed contract, you keep quiet. You start sending letters. Because everybody, even as you have a fixed contract, everybody have their part to play. The client has his part to play. So it's not, let's forget about the mindset that, oh, this project is a contractor. Everybody is in the mess, whether client or contractor. When your project, let me tell you, if your project is not performing, you, the project manager in the company where I work, you will not get IPF. You will, that when others are being promoted, no promotion for you. And promotion comes every 3 years. Promotion comes every, so you want to support your contractor to make sure it delivers. When your contractor is under pressure and there is an HSC issue, your site will be closed down. And when your site is closed down, you have no job, because you'll be going through investigation upon investigation. It's better you stole or you resign and left the company than you pass through that. You wouldn't want to even dare. You would not want to do emotional trauma you want to go through. So as a project manager, even if you're on the client side, you want to do the needful. You don't want the contractor slamming your company with claims because of your inefficiency. Why were you paid to be there? You're paid to do your job and you just did not do your job. So you as a contractor, you need to write. When there are issues, write. You don't keep quiet, oh, because it doesn't work that way. I've seen companies that try to take where I work to court, and they had to pay because they don't want the mess in the newspaper. They don't want that. No, one small company, indigenous company, you refuse to pay them, you are killing the contractor and all of that. They had to call the guy beg. Because do you know what it means? The name. So you wouldn't want to, and the guy has details, he has evidence. Oh, I bought XYZ, I've spent 70 million, I've spent 70% of the contract sum importing materials. You did not pay me in dollars, you pay me in naira. Now inflation has caught up with it. So that's why I said when you're signing contract, please be careful, especially in a volatile economy like Nigeria. If you use dollar, if your this thing is in dollar, the fluctuation rate is small. If your contract is in dollars, so it won't affect you that much. But if it's in naira, man, you are in deep soup. So that's it. So my to-do list, I said cost loading, I've done baseline, I've done monitoring and control. Projects, okay, project output, printing and exporting. So when you say project output, it means printing and exporting. So there are two ways you can send this project from this database to someone. And there are two ways. The first is printing, by printing it, maybe PDF, or you send it to a local printer, or by exporting it. So we're going to do two of them now. We're going to do two of them. So first, we're going to export. Export is like you're sending, like I mentioned, I think that we've done one like that, your ZAR file. So I'm exporting file, and click on what? Export. So when you are exporting, you need to look at the versions. You have to look at the versions. If you're exporting to me now, like this schedule, if I'm sending it, if I'm exporting it to be used at the office, I have to reduce this because my office zone is 8.4. So I'll reduce it to 8.2. So that I will be able to, the pieces I have on my official laptop can accept it. But if I'm sending it to someone that has a 21 or a 19, I'll leave it at my 17.12. You see, 17.12 for later. That's later versions, to 21, 22, and all of that, right? But if it's for a lower version, you send it to a lower version. And you click on next. Okay, next. And you click on, so be sure of the location you're saving it. Be sure of your location. Be sure of your location. So I might take it to my desktop. Let me see. Do I be sure of where I'm taking it to? Okay. Good. And I save it there. Finish. Export was successful. Close. So this is where it is. So you see the shadow is here. So this is it. From here now you can send it to somebody, share, open an email and send it. Okay. You can open your email, send it to the person, send it as an attachment. So that's why. So that's how to export. Then the other one is printing. So the person you're exporting it to will also import. So if I have this, I'm not going to import, it's going to take me time. I think I've done it in this class. So I won't import, but I'll just show you what to do. So when you are importing, you have something like this. Yeah. Say file, import. You follow the prompt and it takes you until you get to the project you want to import. If I start importing, we will not leave this place today. So it takes a longer time to import than exporting. So that's the reason. So here you can select where you want to import it. That's the EPS node you want to import it to. Select it and you're fine. Okay. Oh, so when I say EPS node, you need to change this to creating it as a new before EPS node will come. The other one was if you're importing it into an open project. Maybe somebody sent you a schedule, you are merging the schedule together. So, but if you're importing it as a standalone, maybe I'm a client and contractor sent it to me, I will import it as create a new project, and I'll choose the EPS node that I want to import it to and review it from there. Okay. The next is how to print, not exporting now. You want to print the schedule. You go to File, Print Preview. Print Preview. So this is your page setup. Your page setup. So in this place, this is your page, your margins, your header, you're setting the paper. You get me? So your shadows, always print your shadow in landscape, not in portrait. It's advisable to print your shadow in landscape. But it depends, really. It depends on where your interest lies. Most persons, their interest lies on the Gantt, those bars. That's what they want to see. So, but if your interest is on the dates, like this one now, we are doing monitoring and control is on the dates. You just forget about the Gantt. You look at the dates. So depending on, but it's advisable to print it in landscape. That's the best way to print your schedule. Okay, so what do you do? I want to put legend on my footer. I want to put legend so that some persons can so add. So I want so many persons to. So first of all, let me start from here. So you can decide that your legend box remains like this. It's nothing, it's just like that. Yeah. Or you can decide you want it to be in different sections. So you can decide you want more. As in you want to have sections where they can actually sign, not making it blank. So you increase to 2 or 3. So you see, so if you make it 2, this is what you get. But if you make it 3, this is what it gives you. So you have a revision box here. You have your logo, your text logo here, and you have what your Gantt legend here. So your revision box is what you want to edit. Now you're putting the date. Remember I said your schedule must be signed off. Your schedule must be signed off. So this is the date you are the sign off will be, or you that is signing. This is the date you are signing it, or everybody will be signing it. Then what revision is this? Maybe revision 1. Checked by, put your name, Mr. Akpan. Or maybe your boss, his name is Mr. Akpan. Then who is approving? The approval party, maybe it's the client. What's his name? Mr. Bruno. Okay, so that is it. So, or you have other people too. On this other day, so you just put that in. Put that. If you want to change the font of, so you can click on this and the font comes out. Some places that are touch not. Once you touch them, they manifest like evil spirits. So that place I just touched now is one of them. So once you're done with this, your test logo, you say modify, you want to put logo, your company logo. So you can go to this point, you browse to where your logo is, right? Maybe pictures, wherever you have it on your desktop. So don't have any logo. So open, okay, yep, there you have it. So you can decide to make it smaller so that they know that it's you, it's your company that did that work. Right? So I don't need okay, so I have my logo in. And you okay it. Okay. So I don't like the way it is. I want you to, so let me apply and see what it looks like. Do a preview and see how it's coming out. Okay, I want it at the center, right? You see the way the logo is, I want it to be at the center to show, to arrange itself very well. So I go back to my page setup, footer, modify, and I'm bringing it to the center, okay? Okay. Apply. Let's look at it again. See, good, that this is better, or can still do better. Please, if I bring it up, I think you can still can do better. So I still go back to my page setup, my footer, modify. So I'm excited to take it up, right? So I close, apply, okay. So it's obvious I cannot do better than this, but I can, there's something I can do. I can reduce the size, yeah? I can reduce the size of my logo to make it smaller, to fit in into that space. Modify. Okay. Good. So I'm fine. All right. So I'm done with this. I've done all the effigy of printing. Your header, I want to change header. Remember, this is not our project title. So let's change the header. We're done with footer. I've shown you how to attach your logo, company logo to the schedule. Put the people that will sign, right? So you put the people that will sign on the schedule. Okay, so go to set up to header. Under your header, you modify. So here I want my project name. What is the name of this project? Okay, My project is a construction program for NICS, right? And I'm not seeing that here. So please modify. So I've asked it to add project name. Okay. So you see the project name has appeared. I've changed it to our project name. I want to reduce this space to be small. So it's something you can play around with really. Just change this to 0.5. Because I think it's a bit big. Yeah, I changed the size to 0.5. So this is it. So you can print the schedule. So if you have a printer, you can send it to the printer if the printer is connected. If not, print, you can print it on PDF. So I have a PDF printer already, but if you drop down, you can also see 1 minute and all of that. So I print it on PDF. Sample training schedule. Okay, this is printed. So you want to go back to the schedule, the main schedule that after printing. This is how to go back, return back to where you left from. So if I want to see the projects, the schedule that I printed, this is it. Now, there are some things we did not see. I don't know if somebody can tell us what is wrong with this print. Something is wrong with it. Very wrong with it. If you see the Gantt area, it did not show, and it's not even showing 2019 when our data was 2015 or so, right? So you can't show me 2019. I don't have business with 2019. I want to see exactly what the table is showing. My Gantt should tell the same story. So we're going to redo this, right? So we'll go back, file, print, preview, page setup. Then go to options. Options. So this is where you adjust the sizes. I know some of us know this. You adjust the sizes. You can say 100%, adjust to 100%, right? So it makes it like the normal size. Okay, the paper size. So here is where you choose if it's B1, big paper, depending on if you are connected to Plotter, you can now use Plotter from here. Then here you come back to this point. You're choosing the dates as per that schedule. And you have to choose dates that are a bit behind. Okay? Your schedule is 2015. That's your start date. December 1st, 2015. So I'm going to choose a date in November so that my first day will show. I'll choose like 2 days back in November. I'll choose 29th, right? Then where do I want my time scale to finish, to end? I think it's 2016, sometime in 2016 May. So I'm going to take it to end of May 2016. May 31st. So that apply. Okay. So let's see how many do we have.